Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters. And we have an honored guest today. Teresa, are you going to join us? Yes, you are. I'm going to sign you up today for sure. I'm the VP of membership.
Well, Ruth, you were busy with Ruth, so I thought, okay, I'll wait.
All right, sounds good. But again, welcome. I see a guest that showed up. I think it's a Corey as well on Zoom. Well, welcome to our Meridian Toastmaster this Thursday. It was beautiful and sunny as I was driving in, and I truly enjoyed it because I'm looking forward to spring. I do have one more day of snowboarding this weekend, though. I'm excited to finish it up because apparently there's like snow on the mountain still after springtime. I can't believe it. I'm going to introduce some roles before our meeting starts. And first, but before I do that, I'd like to ask our joke master, that is Corey, to tell us a few jokes to add some levity before our meeting starts.
Awesome.
Corey.
Thank you. Thank you. Are you Toastmaster today? Thank you, Toastmaster and fellow guests. So, a couple of things, jokes to bring some lightness to our day today. First one is, why do skeletons not fight with each other?
Not fight. No bones.
No fun, no bones. Okay, I like it. Anybody else?
I have no guts.
They don't have the
No
guts to
guts.
do it.
Oh.
What? How about why don't scientists trust atoms?
They're too small? They're too small? I don't know.
Because they make up everything.
Oh.
Okay. All right, with that, I will return it. Good master, thank you.
Oh, thank you, Corey, for the jokes and the levity. Before I move on, I see that we have Rachel joined us. Rachel, quick interjection. Would you be interested in doing an evaluation of a speech?
Yes.
You, okay, that's great. That would help me tremendously because I was supposed to evaluate our speech today. It's Justin's speech. If you would be kind enough to introduce him when we bring it up, I would love it. Thank you very much. Cool. Next, I'd like to call on additional roles, and that role is going to be, the next one is going to be table topic. Teresa, can you explain the role to us, please?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster and fellow Toastmasters. Our table topics is on leadership. So consider as Toastmasters, how can you use your skills as a Toastmaster in your areas of leadership? Thank you.
And I just want to add that would be a 1 to 2 minutes time table topic that when you ask us, it'll be something that anybody can volunteer and speak about. Thank you for explaining your role. And the next role is our grammarian. And that again is Corey. Corey, can you explain the role to us?
Yes. Haven't gotten to the word of the day yet part, but my role as a grammarian is to introduce a word of the day and encourage its use by speakers, evaluators, and table topics participants. I will note who uses the word of the day or a derivative of it correctly or incorrectly, and I'll listen to the word usage, note any awkward or misuse, spectacular use of the English language. I'm also going to be keeping an eye out for crutches, pause fillers such as and, well, but, all those sort of things that come up. And I'll give my report at the end. So maybe before we get started, I'll have that word identified if
Yeah,
we
no
can.
problem,
Great.
Corey. I will come back to you. So I'll turn over to the next role and ask Ruth to explain to us what the timer does.
Okay, so greetings, Mr. Toastmaster and fellow members. As timer, I will time the table topic speakers, formal speeches, and evaluations. I'll also alert each speaker of the time that they have left using the green, yellow, and red cards. For table topics, the a speaker should be no more than 2 minutes. For icebreaker, is anybody doing an icebreaker today? I'll skip that. For most other speeches, it'll be most other speeches will be 5 to 7 minutes in length, and individual evaluations should be between 2 to 3 minutes. Thank you.
Next role I would like to introduce is the general value, who is Catherine.
You, Mr. Toastmaster. Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests. The general evaluator, just have brain cramp. The general evaluator evaluates the overall flow of the meeting, and I evaluate the evaluators of the speeches. Thank you.
Okay, now I think if Corey's ready, I can ask for the word of the day.
Yes, the word of the day is candid. So the meaning behind it, so it's CANDID, and the meaning behind it is honest and straightforward, speaking openly without hiding your true thoughts. So an example using candid would be he gave a candid answer about his struggles with confidence. And yeah, why it's useful being candid, it helps build real connection and conversations because people feel like they're hearing the real you. So candid. Good luck.
Thank you for the word candid as the word of the day. And that wraps up kind of the introduction of our speech. Sorry, not our speech, the introduction of starting our meeting. So I'll transition to our speech. And to introduce our speech, I'm going to ask Rachel to come up.
All right, I will be evaluating Justin. Justin, I apologize, I don't have much of an intro. I've only known him for a couple of weeks. I know he's a VPE, which is one of the hardest roles for sure. But everyone, please welcome Justin to the meeting.
All right, thank you, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests. You've been on Zoom land out there. Gonna be candid today. Speech isn't gonna match the weather that we're having. My speech today is about rain. And that's something I want to talk about today. It's something that we all experience here in the Pacific Northwest. Did you know that on average it rains 53 inches per year here in the Olympia, Washington area? Most of that rain falls between October and March. And what that means is we have relatively wet winters and dry summers. So far this year, we've received about 18 inches of rain since January, which is actually right on track for normal. And what that means is even though we had a wet, soggy beginning of the year, including March, we're actually right on track for normal. Does anybody like being out in the rain, having it fall on your head, get in your eyes? Most people probably don't, especially when it's cold out. But what about after a hot summer stretch of days where it's hot and the rain falls and it's refreshing? It reminds me when I was in Florida a few years ago. One afternoon it started raining. I was bracing myself for the cold rain. But the rain started hitting me. I was able to relax. Like, this isn't so bad. It's actually warm. It felt good. One thing I noticed about Florida is so many people were ready with umbrellas. Before it started raining, they popped open the umbrellas and they were ready to stay dry. Of course, the rain's a lot heavier there. And I noticed, got to thinking about rain here, we don't see a lot of people with umbrellas. What does it rain? Like it's a lighter rain. Maybe also because you got to carry the thing, you got to carry along with you. And then when you have it, you have to store it somewhere. And when it gets wet, you can't just put it in a bag and put it away. You have to let it dry out somewhere. Ideally open so it dries properly. You know, all growing up, I heard it was bad luck to open an umbrella indoors. So many people said it, it must be true, right? And I don't want to test out that theory. Pass on that. We have a lot of different styles of rain. What we get most often is what I alluded to earlier, just the light drizzly rain. A lot of times you can just go out in it with the clothes we're wearing, the shoes, normal shoes, and we don't get too wet. Another kind of rain we get is a heavy downpour of rain. And it just starts dumping. You can hear it on the roof. You can see it outside, drops fall on the ground, mud puddles. And that's when you probably want to put on some raincoat, rain boots, something to keep yourself dry. Another kind of rain we get is a very deceiving kind of rain. It looks like a drizzly day, just enticing you to go out in it. So you do. Next thing you know, you're soaking wet, or you can think about it. And that's what happened to me not too long ago. Caught me off guard. I went outside as normal, regular clothes, and it felt like walking through a stream of water. I was soaked. There's so much water coming off me. I was coming off my face. I almost lost the contact lens. Like that, my eye to keep my contact lens there. Rain has some downsides emotionally for people. I know a lot of people that suffer seasonal depression for all the dark, gloomy days that we have around here. It also makes it hard to stay physically active because who wants to go outside and run and do things in the rain? We stay indoors. And that in turn turns us into hermits. We don't really socialize as much as other areas in our country. And even though the rain isn't always cold, not as cold as cold climates like where I grew up, I think it's worse because once you get wet, it's really hard to get warmed up. If you go outside and it's below zero, you can come inside and pretty quick sit by the fire and warm up. But when you're wet, you got to warm up first or you got to dry out first before you can. One thing that surprised me about the rain, the ground, is the ground just takes it. I'm not sure people familiar with the Bible, Proverbs 30:16 mentions 4 things that seemingly says never is enough. And one of those 4 things is the ground that's never full of water, just keeps taking it. And I can relate to that around here. As much as it rains, the ground just keeps taking it. Sure, there's flooding events, some smaller than others. I don't want to minimize the impact of that on people. But for the most part, the ground just takes it in and it goes away. Simply amazing. Rain is definitely essential for our region to be as lush and green as it is. The forests, our gardens all thrive because of the rain that we get. If we didn't get this rain, it wouldn't be near as beautiful as it is. We'd have a completely different climate. And some people would say that's going to happen with climate change. Which, hey, I'd be okay with that. If we got some Southern California weather coming our way, that'd be great. Actually, I'm just being facetious. I would hate to see the natural beauty that we have here disappear. Rain is essential for our reservoirs and aquifers for drinking water, wildlife, keeping our rivers and streams healthy. One quick look at the struggles other states are feeling with water shortages, like Arizona, Colorado. I guess California is back to normal. These water shortages are very impactful for people. And when you see what they're going through, we should be very grateful that we have all the rain that we have and what the rain brings. So as we close, I would like us to consider the blessing that rain is. It's not just annoyance falling from the sky. It's actually life-giving and essential for our area to be as lush as it is. So as we continue to 2026 and beyond, let's consider rain for what it is, a vital part of life here in the Pacific Northwest. That, 2, 2.
Thank you, Justin, for making rain sound really cool. Candid, I raised my hand to show that I like rain, but I actually don't like rain that much. I just like running in the rain because it cools me off. There was I'll share a little story. When I first moved here, actually from Central Washington in the fall, it started raining and it was around September, and it was for a month straight where it was drizzling, like you said. And I was thinking to myself, why won't it stop? And I asked my roommate at the time, and he just laughed at me, literally just, and he said, Ken, it's going to be like this until spring. So that was my first introduction living here. The first year was seeing 6 months of drizzling rain. And with that, I think up next is table topics. So I'm going to ask Teresa to come up here and give us some topics to talk about. Teresa.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. So the table topics is on leadership, and I'll be candid with you. I never foresaw myself as a leader, and it was when I started having 4 children, I got involved in the schools, I saw a need that wasn't being met, and I ended up being a leader. And I served in different roles as a leader. Throughout my life, I see a need and I keep saying, I'm not a good leader. But yet I roll up my sleeves and I just serve in some leadership role and do something that needs to be done. So, who would like to volunteer to address the table topics on leadership?
Do time. Oh, you know what?
Thank you, Ruth.
Thank you. I moved this because I feel it's been covered. Repeat the question again, because I'm.
The table topic is on leadership.
And wasn't it, how do we apply what we get here to
It
leadership?
could be whatever you would like.
I joined Toastmaster because there's a few important issues for me right now that I am a stand for, want to speak about and advocate for. One, of course, is as an artist and art teacher, that creativity and engaging in art is essential for every day in our lives, and to make people more aware of what happens, of how art vitalizes us. The other is about aging. I'm a stand for a new way of aging. The old conversation about aging was people at a certain age are too frail, they can't participate anymore. And we're in a new era right now, and we can see all around us that we have people going near 100, even 100, that are active in the world and contributing in the world. The other issue for me is I have a history of Crohn's disease, and health and well-being is very important to me. I healed myself. I can't actually pinpoint what it was, but I want to speak on that and actually inspire other people, especially children who are suffering with Crohn's disease. When I first was impacted, there were no medications like the medications now, and I had to look on my own to find ways to heal outside of what the doctors were prescribing, steroids. And I'm not exactly sure what it was, but I tried all kinds of spiritual healing. I changed my diet. I changed myself from inside out, and I want to let people know that that's possible. Thank you.
Okay. So would anybody else like to speak on the topic of leadership? Corey? Thank you, Corey.
Oh, good.
Thank you, Teresa, for the opportunity to speak about leadership. So I find that leadership is, in order for other people, I myself as someone that struggled for a long time with confidence and self-esteem issues, getting up here doing things like this, that with leadership, sometimes people think that, that person is really confident, that they're charismatic, that they were born with it, that any of these sort of things. But the reality is that a lot of the times that they were just willing to do it the first time, that they were the one to step up and out of their comfort zone and to be a leader. So a lot of times we have this idea or perspective that being a leader is somebody that's at the front of the army or someone that's this grandiose sort of person. But being a leader doesn't have to be just that. Being a leader can be opening the doors for somebody and showing goodwill and acts of kindness and stepping up here and outside of our comfort zone. So I encourage you guys to think about that. Like, how could you from day to day be a leader and be an example for other people in your own lives? And it doesn't have to be in in ways that you might think. It may be in ways that come naturally and feel good to you. So my thoughts on being a leader. Thank you.
Do we have time to read more?
Yeah.
Yes.
You might
Okay.
ask the lady on Zoom.
Huh?
You might want to ask on Zoom.
Oh, right, yes.
Corey, would you like to speak on the table topics of leadership? Is it Corey? No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it is Corey. I can give it a try. Um, so leadership is not an area I tend to like to be. I much prefer being in the background. My hope, however, with doing Toastmasters to use the skills here to be more comfortable being in the front seat. There was a quote that someone had said a couple weeks ago that was, "You're playing small does not serve the world," and that really resonated with me, really stood out. And so it's kind of giving me a different mindset of thinking about how I can still kind of be challenging myself to be in a leadership role, but not always necessarily being like doing it all the time, but just challenging myself to use it sometimes. There are situations in my workplace where I'd like to be able to communicate more effectively with my peers, and Toastmasters is supposed to help kind of like encourage myself to be more candid and have that ability. So that is kind of my goal and hope, is to get a little bit more comfortable and less anxiety.
Oh,
So I believe we have room for one more to speak on leadership. So thank you, Kim Chen.
Thank you, Madam Tabletop Masters, fellow Toastmaster, and honored guests. The idea of leadership is not a new concept, but it's a relevant one to me recently. I've always been in a role at work as what they call an individual contributor, which I still am. But the last couple of months, I've been really giving a lot of thoughts about things that I'm doing and how I can grow into a leadership role. Lots of thoughts went and gone, and I realized there's already a couple of things that I've been doing myself personally that have gained that and built that experience. One of that is obviously Toastmasters, coming and taking a role. For example, and speaking in front of people is giving me that. A little plug too, in Toastmaster, there is also club officer roles, which is also a leadership role where you could, every year, I believe it's 7 roles that if you feel that is a calling to you and something to build on, it is a leadership role as a club officer role where you are able to provide inputs and lead the club in a group settings to make it more successful. And I'll say one other thing, because I know my time is almost coming up, to outside of Toastmaster, the other development thing that I've been thinking a lot of growing my leadership is actually going back to college and potentially actually looking to getting a master's degree. With that,
no, you have more
that
time.
is what leadership qualities and things that I'd like to learn coming up in the near future. And I'll turn it back to Teresa, the top minister.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster and fellow Toastmasters. And
37.
I
Oh,
have
37.
enough time for one more.
Because we go to evaluator number 2, which is at 12:30.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
we have 1 or 2 more if you want to.
Okay, so who would like to speak on leadership? Thank you so much for speaking on leadership. I know you as a leader.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests. Leadership is not a new role for me. I believe when I was born, I was a leader. My parents always say, "Why do you always want to be in charge?" I'm the youngest of three. And all throughout my life, I've always either been selected as a leader or I felt compelled because when I sit in the background, I can be a follower too. I'm not strictly a leader. I can also be a follower. However, I find myself asking questions of the leader, which is why I'm no longer in the military. I served for 10 years and I questioned the leadership. I did not like blind followership. However, when you're in the military, you've sworn an oath to follow your leaders. And I found some of the leaders to be quite disturbing, to say the least. Leadership is something I gravitate to. I love sharing. I love helping. I love serving leaders.
Thank you so
You're
much,
welcome.
Kathy.
You're welcome.
Cross. You're more of a servant leadership.
Yes.
So thank you very much for the tabletops, and then we will move on to our Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Teresa, for a wonderful table topic on leadership. I am glad to see that we all had an opportunity to partake and give our thoughts on the table topics. Next is our evaluation portion. And to evaluate our speech, I will turn it over to Rachel.
And read the notes. All right, well, we heard a speech from Justin that we can all relate to for sure, because rain affects everybody. I personally related to many of the stories because I came from Florida and my mom, who lives here, warned me. She's like, "Don't carry around an umbrella. Everybody will know that you're not from around here." It's funny you brought it up. It was a well put together speech. It had a flow. It had a kind of beginning, a middle, and end. Good job on that. Some of the things that I liked, when you came up here, is you opened with a question about who likes rain, and when you open with a question, it definitely, in a lot of these speeches, immediately you get audience engagement because we're all answering that. So great way to start the speech, and you told a lot of cute anecdotes that we could all kind of relate to with with your speech. Oh, I like that you started the speech with some facts too. And also great job that it's memorized. It's nice to not be doing what I'm doing and relying on these. I want to give you some things to challenge yourself. I like that you moved the podium, and so we can see you, and we're able to move around, and that frees you up to be very expressive. And also it removes a barrier between you and you have that here. It's kind of like you're hiding behind it, so it's nice. But I did notice when you were giving your speech, you were standing back here a little bit. I thought, hey, come up here and get closer. And since you're not using this except for notes, you could have moved around a little bit, maybe the next time. And you have a very soothing voice. But maybe for another speech to have some dynamics of really having some songs and really some loud things, and it helps with putting some oomph into the speeches, I suppose. I want to get to this challenge part, but I want to say your body language, I thought, and your pauses were superb, because when you pause, it's the end of a sentence and people are like, what's next? And even though you may have been pausing to collect your thoughts, maybe, but it's a very effective tool in speeches. I know I'm out of time, but I do want to say, I really liked So this is really a super challenge maybe to you. I'd love to play a speech again in a different way. I like the subject, but it was a very gentle speech is what I would say. You're talking about rain, and it can hit on a lot of very urgent matters that are going on right now with rain. So I'd like to see maybe the next time if you give it, maybe to put it in a way where you're putting in more facts and you can actually give us, the audience, a challenge or a call to action to do something or to be more aware. Corey, in your table topics, you said small does not serve the world or something like that. And I thought that was for a speech that you're giving about rain. I thought those words were very inspiring to maybe as a second attempt at this. Although the speech was great, I thought it was superb, and you were memorized, you were relaxed and confident. It was a great speech. Thank you, everybody. Back to the Toastmaster. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Therese, Rachel, for evaluation. I also appreciate that you were able to come in and step up and help me with a role, which is very cool because taking on multiple roles is very, very difficult. We've all done it. So I'm so thankful that you were able to do that and also give a great evaluation. And to provide more input in your evaluation, I'm going to turn it over to our general evaluator, Kathy, to give the rest of the reports.
Thank you so much, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests. Today was a very bright meeting, candidly speaking. I really enjoyed each person that came up to speak. I believe this is why we are here. We're here to elevate our ability to speak confidently in front of each other. I'll start with the Toastmaster. I thought you had excellent transitions. You actually provided feedback for everyone that came up, and it was very smooth. We did start on time, however, we hiccuped and we had a take two of sorts with the sound, with the recording, and with gathering other people to fill in roles. I love how you were able to start it though, and then get Rachel to buy into a role. You got me to buy into a role. It was very smooth and fluid. Very good, Toastmaster. The table topics. I like the topic, of course, leadership, Teresa. I like the topic. And I like how everyone was able to engage. No one was left out. I don't think anyone was left out on the topic. So that's actually why we're here, to practice our communication. And candidly speaking, I'd say, Rachel, you did an excellent job evaluating Justin's speech. You started out a little slow, like you were getting your feet wet. Like I kind of equate it to getting in the pool. You dipped your toe in and then you finally got in. And once you got in, then you couldn't stop. So starting out is a little slow, but once you get in there, I loved everything that you said in terms of the feedback you provided for him, even to the point where you demonstrated it. You actually demonstrated it. And I love how you said come in, because that actually pulls the audience in. That's a power play, I like to call it. So I really, really like that. The pregnant pause, what you said about the pregnant pause, he did it, and I don't think it was intentional, maybe. I think it's your way, Justin, of finding your way without the filler words, without the and. And that's excellent, because no one knows what you're going to say, but you pause. So that's great. Only thing I would add to your evaluation of our speaker is the call to action. I thought he actually had a call to action, but I do agree that the vocal variety, the energy level, maybe that's it. Maybe the energy level was melancholy. It was very smooth, very, what was the word you used? Very soothing, very soothing, like it could be a bedtime story. But rain to me is not a bedtime story. That's not my perception of it. Excellent speech, excellent evaluation, excellent meeting, great camaraderie, and our guest even chimed in. Thank you. Next, I'll call on the reports. We'll start with the Meridian.
Oh.
Can you give us the report, please?
I can. Bring it up there.
All right.
Overall, everybody did an amazing job today. You know, watching you guys is so inspiring, listening to the lack, just the clarity in what it is that you say. Justin, I think you did an amazing job in your speech. I'm not giving the an evaluator role, but from a grammarian perspective, I was struggling to, not that like I'm looking for bad things, but like you did a great job. There was, I don't know if there was any ums or uhs or so's or any of that. I loved how the breaks she referred to. Really overall, everybody did a great job. There was I think Ruth, you had a number of ums and uhs, and Rachel, there was a few of them in there as well, but really it was few and far between today. Concerning the word, candidly, for today, Teresa, this is what I had recorded. Teresa, you had one. Justin, you had one. Kim, there I am. Corey, you had one. And Kathy, is it Kathy? You had two at least. There might have been a third one in there. So great job, everybody, today, and keep up the great work.
All right, next we'll have our timer report. Ruth, can you bring us the timer report?
Yes, up front or at my.
That way our guests could see your front instead. Thank you.
Madam,
Yes.
I will give you all the time report. So I'm going to start with Justin's speech, and it was 6 minutes and 15 seconds. For my table topics, it was 2 minutes. For Corey, for table topics, 1 minute, 17 seconds. And Corey, your table topics was 1:39. Kim, for your table topics, this is 1 minute and 42 seconds. Kathy, your table topics was 1 minute and 8 seconds. Then on to evaluators. Rachel, your evaluation was 3 minutes and 48 seconds. It was good. You know, I didn't know if I should let you know, but you coached me, so don't say anything. I'm learning. And then Kathy, your evaluation, 3 minutes and 4 seconds. Thank you, members.
Thank you. Thank you. Great meeting. We're actually ahead of time. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to our president. President.
Pseudo president.
Acting officer.
Right.
Oh.
VPE.
Little word.
Yeah.
I don't have much to say. Nice meeting. I think everybody said it. We all pulled together, filled in roles last minute, people not here. I think Kim's gonna help us get hooked up. Anybody wants their phone? So we can get on the text list so we know who's here
Yes.
and stuff like that.
I was gonna say, we have a group text, that is set up, and then if you're okay with that, I will include you in there. That it's really just to help fill in roles on that way.
Okay.
If you're taking a Toastmaster role, it really helps that person be prepared. And especially if you took a role and something happened, you can't make it, it's another good way to say, hey, something happened, I can't make it. That way we know that we're not waiting on you, whether your role is gonna get selected or not. So
Yeah, great tool. And I don't think we get spam. Don't spam.
yeah, just do not send it out after 10 o'clock, please.
And our guest, Corey, how you doing out there in Zoom land? Welcome back.
Thank you. I'm doing all right.
Good.
Are you gonna join us after visiting us 3 or 4 times already?
I'm debating about it. I can't like consistently come every week. It would be more like every other week kind of scenario. But I did get your email, so I will continue to look at that and let you know.
All right.
Yeah, every other week's good, whenever you can make it. We're glad to have you.
Okay, thank you.
You have amazing things to say every time I've been here and you've been a guest. I hope you join. I think you have, your voice needs to be heard.
That's good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Great. All right, I guess with that, I'll close the meeting. All right.
Thanks, Corey.
Thank you.
Did anybody, I forgot the roles. Does anybody want to fill some roles next week by
Who
chance?
types up the list?